Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to be continuing with our Bolens tube frame Snowcaster. In the last video, we brought this attachment around to the workshop, which it's been a while since we've had this thing out before we started this project. And then what we did was we took the auger out from in here and started cleaning everything up, polishing it so that we get a smoother surface, so that if we do get any snow for snow clearance, the snow just rolls off here rather than sticking to the rusty spots, which are now smoothed off quite a lot. And we also did some repairs to the auger. It needed some welding, and this has also been cleaned up so that it's a lot smoother now. And all was going well until we found that this bearing, which was at one of the ends of the auger, was actually seized, which halted our progress in the last video. Now, before this video, we have ordered and now received this pair of these bearings, which we're going to use to replace this one, which the size of these bearings appears to be quite common in the US. However, we don't seem to use it here in the UK, which made these rather difficult to find. And these are economy bearings because we struggled to find high quality ones, which is why we've got two of them. However, they don't feel too bad, so we'll be switching them over probably today and continuing work on this part of the Snowcaster while the auger is out and it's lighter to move about. We've turned the Snowcaster around on the bench now for ease of access to the back here, and the first thing we want to see is whether our gearbox has any leaky seals or anything. So we're going to take out the existing oil, assuming there is any oil left in it, and put some new oil in. All of the paint around the gearbox appears to be the best on the Snowcaster, which might suggest that there might have been an oil leak. However, we'll see. But before we do that, what we're going to do is take off our attachment bracket here, and that is because, while we probably could try to fix this, it is 10 times easier with the solution we have found, which is this. After scrolling through American eBay, we have found a replacement attachment bracket here, which is in much better condition than our one. It is a tiny bit bent and buckled on this bracket here, so what we'll have to do is bend this back and then re-weld it down there because the welder's cracked there, and then still make up a lift rod to go from here back to the tractor lift lever. But it's 10 times easier having this than it would be to try and fix the old one. Now if we go over here, I've got the impact here, and this is really not ideal space wise for how I'm going to have to do this, but we'll see how it goes. We have the attachment bracket disconnected now, and you can see there's a nice bit of original paint that we've cleaned up with some cutting compound, and we think we'll be able to use that in future as a good place to get a decent match from for some paint if we choose to repaint this at some point. And there's an equally good bit of paint on the mating surface on this bracket. However, if I put these side by side, you can actually see that this is a different yellow, which is interesting, and we were wondering if it was just our bracket had faded. However, if we go over here to our other one, you can see this is that different yellow too, and in places this looks almost white, which is interesting compared to the yellow that's used on the entire rest of the Snowcaster. However, with that off now, it is time for us to try and drain whatever oil is left in here. And to make it easier for draining the oil, we will put it up on end, with this end facing the branch. However, time to see if this will come undone. And that was actually alright, not too tight, but definitely was not loose. So now we know that will definitely move. We can put this up on end, chuck a bucket under it to catch any oil that may come out, and drain the oil. We have this on its side now, and time to find out whether we've got some clean oil in here, some utter slime in here, or nothing in here at all. Oh, well, it's not empty, and doesn't look too bad. We've turned the Snowcaster back so that it's the right way now, and put the plug back in. You can see the oil that we took out here. It doesn't look or smell too bad, however there isn't much of it. And what we're going to do now is try and refill it with some new oil, which we're trying to get this as level as possible, so for when we fill it in. So you can see there, managed to get that exactly 0 degrees on that axis, and then if we twist that around 90 degrees, it's almost level, or close enough, which this is a very handy tool to have for setting things up. However, we now need to get a funnel and fill up the gearbox. While we were filling up the gearbox oil again, we were looking at what we had to do to take the chute off so that we could clean it up and work out what is so stiff about it. So we checked all of the bolts to make sure none of them were seized, and they're not. And then we took this nut and bolt off here, and we have to take this part off before we can take the actual chute part off. But what we did just do before doing that is swung this out a bit, see how stiff it is in here, and that is very stiff to turn that. So that's probably why the entire mechanism is so stiff. And something else that we've noticed is this, which appears to be a tensioner or an adjuster for this part, is seized, so that probably doesn't help either. So what we're now going to do is take this part off by that bolt, and then we can take the chute itself off. And this is a good demonstration of our Fakem ratchet ring spanner, which we got in a Workshop Wednesday video last year. Okay. So that is that part off now. And then there's 4 bolts to take this off. 1 here, 1 that side, and 2 behind it. We have all 4 bolts off now, and time to see this light. That is off. Seems to be some decent paint under there, or should clean up to be some decent paint. We've spent quite a while doing a lot of smaller things that aren't really video worthy, and one of those things is cleaning up the top here, and that's a lot smoother, and that paint actually looks quite nice there. That might be another good possible paint match spot for the future. And while we had the chute off, we've cleaned this up a bit. We've also put some grease on the top of the wheel there where it rubs on the plate. Not fully sure if we're meant to do that, but hopefully that will help. And we've also loosened off the handle part quite a lot as well, which we'll show you in a minute. But what we're now going to do is start to put the chute back on. We have the main chute part on now again, and now for the angle adjuster, and you can see just how much we've loosened it off. You can now turn it easily with just 2 fingers, and we didn't actually get this undone, this adjuster screw thing here. We just got it this loose by putting lubricant in both ends and turning it a lot. Now, to refit this on here, I've got one bolt here, we now have this part on, and I'll demonstrate to you how well this works now. Obviously it's a bit tighter because it's got the resistance of this, but that works very, very well now. And we have just spent some more time off camera cleaning up the back of here even more. The gearbox looks quite nice now. And that's another thing to add to the list of non-video worthy jobs that we've done today, which we've done quite a few of them off camera. Another thing that we've done is found this UJ in our spares box, which needs a bit of cleaning up, but that fits on there all right. And the spider that lives in there needs evicting, because I'm not dealing with him. And something else we've done a lot of work on is this, our attachment bracket, which we talked about earlier. And we have done some bending of this part here to try and get rid of the twists out of it, which we have done quite successfully. We did this with a combination of the press and our 3-foot Kennedy pipe wrenches, if that is the correct thing to call them, which I'm not too sure our bench was very happy taking that load. However, it's bent back roughly into shape on that part. However, there's still something that we need to fix, which is it seems to twist that way slightly. You can see there. And we are going off of the profile of this plate for getting it lined up. So we need to, and we tried hitting it with a big hammer to try and hit this that way, but it didn't really work. So we think we may have to get our big propane torch out to heat that up so that we can bend it so that it goes up against the plate again, which we don't really fancy doing this late in the day, seeing as this is a wooden workshop and we don't fancy catching it on fire this late in the day. So this will be something that we pick up in the next video. So thanks for watching, I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.